in one of the most improbable, predictable, yet unpredictable situations that you could talk about in sports. Jimmy Garoppolo is now the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers again. Unfortunately, it's as a result of Trey Lance suffering a broken ankle. He'll obviously be out for the season. I think it happened on the second drive. Jimmy Garoppolo steps in there, puts up, quote, pedestrian passing numbers, throws a touchdown. The 49ers win 27-7. I think the Seahawks' only points were on a blocked punt by one of my favorite players from the draft, I think Tariq Woolen. So it's not like Seattle even generated any offensive points. I just have this feeling that it's like a horror story or a horror movie from like the 90s. Like Jason or Freddy Krueger, someone who they're going to do a certain thing, but it's inevitable. Jimmy G's going to have moments where he struggles or maybe statistically doesn't have a great impact. The 49ers are going to win a lot of football games. They're going to use a lot of the same schemes that they've used for like the 4 or maybe 5 years since he's been there. And they're going to be around in the playoffs and they're going to be a tough out. That just seems to be his MO. And to be honest with you, like I was rooting for Trey Lance and I hope he recovers quickly. He seemed like a really, impressive talent, a guy who has incredible arm strength and accuracy at the same time. But I'm interested to see what Jimmy Garoppolo can do. It's like he just won't go away. It reminds me of like Freddy Krueger. That's not meant as an insult toward him, to be honest with you. Obviously, the 49ers tried to get rid of him in the offseason. It didn't happen. Some of the things that they're doing, the play design, it's just immaculately called. Mike McDaniel's not there anymore, but in some cases, it seems like there's still the same people there because, man, the design of some of this stuff. Seattle is bringing 5. Okay, it's not really a zone blitz because no one at the first level drops off. So they're bringing 5. You got a DB up here who's blitzing off the edge. You got motion by the 49ers with Deebo Samuel. And this linebacker is going to go and sit kind of shallow. The Mike, I guess, is going to drop back, but not very far. And really well-designed play using the play action. Although, Jimmy G had the ball in his right hand and faked with his left hand. And Samuel's gravity, along with the vertical threat of the number 1 receiver here, to just force this wide open. Some people call it a sail concept, whatever you want to call it. I call it flood because you have an underneath route option in the flat Samuel, a high route, even though there's a lot of separation between the high route and the low route here. And this is just classic kind of 49er stuff. Jimmy G executes it just enough in terms of touchdowns for them to win the game. He's never going to be a guy probably that, throws for 4,500 yards, throws for 38, 40, 42 touchdowns. But they're going to win a lot of football games because they have a great defense. They get the ball in Deebo Samuel's hands, rightfully so. Doesn't matter how you get the ball in his hands. The culture there seems very unselfish, just from the outside. And I don't know a ton about it, other than they were a tough out last year. I believe they had beaten the Rams twice, right? And then the Rams beat them in the NFC title game. I mean, if a guy like Jimmy G was able to get to 2 Super Bowls, how can you continue to say things about him? Yes, is he a, quote, game manager? I guess, sure. Who cares? He's the starting quarterback. He's the guy who plays and throws the ball and puts it in the right spot. These underrated guys across the NFL, I'm kind of partial to rooting for them for real. The guys who get a bad rap, the guys who get criticized incessantly. I mean, come on, I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. He's my favorite player in the world. So it's the same thing, although obviously Lamar Jackson and Jimmy G not comparable at all, from a talent standpoint, from the things their coaches ask them to do. Looks pretty good throwing the ball here. Short selection of plays from this win over Seattle, who seems to be a team that, is, I don't know if tanking is the right word, but a team that is not really headed anywhere. Seattle gets to play, or San Francisco gets to play them twice. I'm interested to see what Jimmy G can do. I was interested to see what Trey Lance was going to be able to do with this offense. The way things are designed well, I think they put lesser talented quarterbacks in position to succeed in this offense. I would say that Mike McDaniel's offense with the Dolphins is very similar, although you've got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill there, of course, incredible talents to help a quarterback as well. Trey Lance, I think, would have been able to take advantage of it in the same way and win a lot of football games. Now that it's Jimmy G again, it makes me wonder, is their season any different? I mean, he's certainly battle-hardened, He's been in a lot of tests, made a lot of throws, missed a lot of throws too, obviously, and gets another shot now. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a comeback story because he's with the same team. It's almost like a comeback story. I'm interested to see what the dialogue and the media is saying out in the West Coast about the 49ers situation. Clearly, they hope for the best with Trey Lance, and he'll be their starting quarterback next year. If he's able to come back from injury, which you would think he will in that time frame. But I'm interested to hear what the thought process is. I would be willing to bet that the locker room and coaching staff is probably pretty confident in Jimmy G, and rightfully so because they've won a lot of football games with him. Let me know what you think of some of my analysis here. Just 6 or 8 plays, him throwing the football, and what appeared to be a relatively easy win for the 49ers. We know their schedule is going to get tougher, quick, fast. And we know they're a battle-hardened team with a great defense, a lot of talent, and they can win football games high-scoring or low-scoring. Let me know what you think of my breakdown, what you think of the 49ers now that Jimmy G is back in charge one more time.